There you go.
That's brilliant technology, hey?
I know, mate. As long as it's working, I'm okay. As
Yes,
soon as it goes wrong, I'm stuffed.
you and me both. But at least it's not in the field in the old days, I guess. So I was using
Yeah, no, exactly.
slightly more problematic. So thanks for joining today. It's quite funny because if you remember, like 3, 4 years ago, there was a guy that was working for me, then went to work for you. Had been on one of the early shows, and got us to quote you for your supplements.
Ah, really?
Yeah,
Yes, I do remember actually.
I've forgotten his name. I'm going to say it was Jonathan, but it probably wasn't. Like, had
Yeah.
glasses, smallish guy. I think it was on one of the early episodes series of the show. Then he came to work for Reflex Nutrition, got made redundant.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He wasn't a cyclist, was he?
Yeah, I think he was actually.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if he's working with you or if that's
No,
just.
it was for well, he sort of, we started, yeah, we had him on a few of our events, and we used to do that with some of the candidates, from the show.
Yeah,
We have them on our events and stuff as support staff. So yeah, he did a few events with us and stuff. I think he was actually, if he's the one I'm thinking about, I think he was actually banned from cycling for doping.
yes, that's it.
Yeah.
He wasn't taking my product. I just like to say that.
Yeah, just no, it's yeah, that's I'm not sure if it was Jonathan though.
I can't remember his name.
I'm thinking
Uh,
Andy, but
yeah, maybe it was Andy. I remember what he looked like. He was
yeah,
probably like 6'5", 7",
yeah,
glasses.
dark hair.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure it's Andy.
it could well have been. Yeah, because I remember he came in like the first day he was doing some stuff. He goes, "Oh, I'm working with Ollie. He wants to launch a nutrition range. We need to get the price over." And I think I mean, how's that all gone for you? Is it?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't have much to do with it.
Yeah,
I'm much my face is all on the side of the packet, and I just get a
right.
commission from time to time. So, but as you know, mate, it's that market is a tough cookie to crack. There's a
Yeah.
lot of competition. So, I mean, it could be better, but it could be worse.
Well, I suppose if you're just sitting back and getting royalty, it's not the
Yeah,
end of the world.
no, exactly. Business good
Yeah,
for you?
go on.
Is business good for you though?
Yeah, not too. I mean, we during lockdown, what we did, we took it as an opportunity to develop new things. So we launched DNA and epigenetic testing.
Ah, yep,
We done some stuff with NASA on that, which has been very interesting.
yeah.
And, so that was not great, but there's certain things that if you're busy, you don't get around to doing other things.
No,
So it's about using that time and making the best of it. And I think ultimately we would have probably kept putting that project on the back burner,
yeah,
and it gave us an opportunity to bring it to the forefront, and it seems to have been a good thing.
yeah.
Uh, and I think anything that we can do to help people improve their health and well-being is a good thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I just think with all these things, and I've learned the hard way because me and my wife are over creative. So that's
yeah,
me when it gets a little bit boring, it's like, let's start a new idea. And then we ended up with so many ideas,
yeah.
things, but especially anything really, you have to focus front and center. I mean, you can't like do it as a
Yeah,
sideline, you can't do it like nutrition brand as a side hustle. It just doesn't work. You got to concentrate and dedicate your time and effort to it. Otherwise, you just water down that flow state, don't you?
so how have you found kind of balancing being an author, setting up Breakpoint, changing the direction of that, I guess, because that's gone more from being something that was more about fit in the traditional sense to more about mental
Yeah.
and health, well-being. What's the journey been and
Well,
what kind of.
really, yeah. To be honest, I mean, we started off 2000. I came back from overseas with the soul. I didn't know anything about a TV show, and I basically put myself through a mental reset. I put myself
Yeah,
in a house for 3 months, And because I needed to make some changes of who I was and my habitual habits, which were quite destructive. And really, it was that sole intent. You know, I want to start this company. You know, I'd made so much progress as a, you know, mentally and in turn physically, that I wanted to share that with the world. I wanted to help as many people as possible, and that was the birth of Breakpoint. Now, really, that was, you know, for me, that was a physical thing to unleash the mental, you know, to really sort of sidestep into the mindset of people. And really, then we went off and doing all these different things, all these different projects, which, you know, for good and bad reasons, you know, it's been a good journey. We've learned a lot. But then we've done a full circle back to where we want to be. And really, I think it was lockdown which really crushed us, you know, because we just bought a premises and, you know, all this, spent everything we had on getting it up to spec. And then we got smashed by that. And then we sort of were pushed into the virtual world of doing loads and loads of corporate stuff.
Yeah.
And we just thought, you know, because one thing we knew about from the events and doing this stuff where, you know, it was front facing was, you know, everyone wanted to see Ollie from the show. And when everyone wants to see Ollie from the show, you just can't scale up.
No.
You know what I mean? So you quite limit. It's like I always look at it like having a sweet shop. You can only sell as many sweets as how many sweets you got in the shop and how long you can work in the shop for. You know what I mean? It's like it's limited. So, you know, that pushed us into thinking, right, how do we really get far? And what, you know, the mission statement is creating a globally identified brand recognized for the positive growth and development of others. And the only way to do that is through, you know, do more stuff online. So, you know, we're now, you know, I'll always do the physical stuff because, you know, that face-to-face, going to corporates, you can't beat that. But really, that is a hook in as far as I'm concerned to get corporates onto sort of longer term programs, because you can't, you know, you can't change. Well, I go and do these corporate talks and you may have some people thinking a little bit different. You can't change a culture in an hour.
Absolutely not. It's the end of the beginning, as they say.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you get people to go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I might start doing that. But human nature flings people straight back into the repeat habit loop of that monotony that they've been doing for the past, you know, whatever, how many months. You know, it's just human nature. So really, how do you have that long lasting effect? And the only way you can do that is by doing similar thing to what I do. You know, I locked myself away for 3 months, and that's the only way I could make any long term change, because, you know, trying to change something, and, you know, and like, you can't just change your environment and think that's going to change everything, because you've got to change you. And that's where it has to start. You know, a lot of people out there are like, oh, well, I want to start a business, I don't know what to do, and I'm the, you know, blah blah, this, that, and the other. They're looking for the answers externally. But if they just focused on themselves initially, the ideas would come, everything would flow from that. You know, and if they don't address themselves first, then really it's just, you know, a detour into discomfort for no apparent reason, just to be flung back into the repeat habit loop of nothing.
I mean, what has been the biggest learning from you? Obviously, you know, people talk a lot about going from being in a military environment into civilian, and obviously that is you know, I did the cadet force, which is hardly a good comparison, but
thanks for your service.
But I do know that, you know, cleaning toilets with toothbrushes and then not having to do that is a massive win. So, you know, for you, obviously, you were, you know, at a very sharp end of what was going on, and obviously, in one respect, you know, you had a lot of pressure, but then you had somebody directing you from above, you know, because of the, you know, the way that the military works, I suppose. What was it like going from, you know, having that kind of regimen to then coming out of that? Is that why you needed that 3 months to kind of lock yourself away to kind of readjust?
Well, I mean, that was 10 years later, you know. I mean, the big thing for me is a lot of people go, right, oh, the military, that are so disciplined. Yeah, there's a difference between discipline and self-discipline.
Yeah.
Massive difference. And really, for me, I look at my career in the special forces, in the military in general, and that is the one thing that kept me in check. It's like this, I know it sounds bizarre, but it's the safest I've ever been, because it kept me from myself. And
Yeah.
like the time leading up to the military was mayhem. And then in comparison, my time in the military was pretty stable in comparison to both those times, both pre-military and post-military.
Yeah.
I think the big thing for me is, first of all, when you come out something like that, you have to learn, or you have to appreciate that you need to take a step down before you can stand back up again.
Yeah.
And not expect the world to be at your feet. You can, just because the world's at your feet doesn't mean you have to, you still have to keep your shoelaces tied up. And for me, that was like almost this expectant, the world owes me. And I think this is a lot of problem with the military. It's almost like the world owes me. I've done my service and all this, that, and the other, and I expect this because I was at the top of my game. And it doesn't work like that. And really, for me, I just spiraled out of control, because I really, I look at it now and I understand what was going on, because I didn't have an underlying sense of purpose that was driving me towards something that I really valued.
Mm.
At the end of the day, I was bouncing from here to there, not understanding where my true purpose lay, being flung back into war zones when I said I'd never go back to a war zone, because that's what I knew. And the money was obviously, well, not obviously, but the money as a military, ex-special forces military contractor is like phenomenal. Compared to military wages, it is like incredible. So that is the draw card. I now call that fool's gold, because I'd never go back and do the job that I did for any kind of money.
Thing is, what you're saying, I talk to a lot of athletes, I'm very fortunate, and when they change from being full-time athletes at the top of their career to not doing that anymore, it's a really big mental shift that has to be undergone to go from, like you were saying, they're very disciplined, because they've got, morning, do this, do that, do your training, eat, sleep, repeat. Turn up, compete, sleep, repeat. And then all of a sudden, they don't have that structure anymore. And it's that adjustment period. So it's really interesting to see that parallel with you. And obviously how people, I guess, from what I'm hearing as well, is like that identity. So your identity gets linked to your job, whether it's or in the forces or whatever. Then you've got to completely re-skin yourself almost in a new identity. So it's fascinating to hear.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly, I've related that so many times. We always relate, when I've spoken to the lads, spoken to Foxy from the show and stuff, and it's all, we've always related that to like your top end Premier League or whatever. Obviously, they got paid a shitload more than we did in the military. But at the end of the day, you have to have really clear direction when you come out. It's like you come from something where you've got so much structure, like you've just said, so much purpose, and then to come out, and if you don't have a clear path of something that really strikes a passion in you, you're just drawn back into stuff that really holds no purpose whatsoever. And this is where people get mental health issues. They fall down, they start, like I did, drinking alcohol just to numb the noise that's going on up here. And it wasn't until I stumbled across something that was just incredible, and that was when I went out to Thailand, Southeast Asia, and I was involved in an operation to rescue kids. And that would be the one thing that then bounced me back onto the true purpose of where I really fit in life. And that, for the first time, it came crashing down overnight because of a political situation. It was horrendous, but it was more powerful for me than actually being in the military. I was always in the military. I was always confused. I just never, the only reason I got to special forces really is because I was still searching for that something. And when I got to the special forces, it still wasn't there. And then when I did that operation in Thailand, some 10 years later, 10, 11 years later, it all of a sudden, it all came together. All the dots joined, and I went, this is incredible. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And that was the power of helping other people. There's nothing more fulfilling than that. You can relate to that because, you've got a brand that does exactly that. Yeah, I think a lot of people, they need to reflect in so much as that, because a lot of people are sort of lost. They're not sure where they're going in life. But a lot of the time it's not a case of just jumping ship and going somewhere else. It's just the case that you need to reframe what you're doing. And when you can find that sense of purpose through your service to others, it changes everything, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that was it for me, you know, that it came crashing down overnight. I wasn't being paid for that operation, but it was the best investment I ever made. And that, an investment that would keep on giving for the rest of my life. And it was like, that would be the heartbeat and DNA of Breakpoint, of what I'm doing today, you know. And that was really, that was the birth of that came from my own struggles of, you know, really trying to get myself and stop all those destructive habits, really get some purpose. I've got the same here, don't worry, somewhere. And then, so it came from that struggle of me being able to, you know, find myself in that bottomless pit, start thinking about suicide and stuff like that, and then go, no, that's not going to happen. That's not how it ends. To really change that dynamic straight away, change my life. So it came from that, and then helping those kids in Thailand, you know, something so powerful in the service of others. So that came together as Breakpoint, you know, and that's my mission now. So it's been an interesting journey, but you know, it's the military thing was a detour off my you know, we all have detours. Everyone has detours, because we finish school, we do this, that, you know, we go on higher education or whatever. We think there's only certain boxes that we can fit in, but you know, later on in life, well, not all people, unfortunately. In fact, not many actually break out of the matrix, and they actually start to really define what they want to do. You know, my life started to change when I started to do what I thought was right instead of doing what was right for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you find, I mean, for me, what I find is if you get one person that comes back to you and says, I'm being a bit, maybe, you've changed my life, albeit it could be in a very small way. That's my biggest motivator. So somebody has discovered fitness, or they've achieved a goal, or they've raised some money, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that motivates you and keeps you going and pushing forward with Breakpoint as well.
Yeah, there's nothing more powerful than that. There's nothing more powerful. And then, you know, you can be going along, nothing that inspiring. Then all of a sudden you get one message from one person that you've changed their life. And, you know, when you get a message where someone says, you know, I was at the brink of thinking about suicide or something like that, and you've changed my life, that is just like, and really, you know, it's not that much of you shouldn't be that confused about that, should you? Because we should, you know, we should get some kind of great feeling from helping our fellow man and woman to lift them up, to put them in a better place. You know, that's just a natural thing. So really, you know, a lot of people, you know, when you reflect on your job as doing something in the service of others, and I you know, I do a lot of corporate talks, and you know, if you're selling insurance or whatever it is, you're doing a job in the service of others. So as soon as you can reflect on that I tell you what, that for me changed everything, because I left the military. And one of the biggest reasons I left the military was the money. The money was just ridiculous. It was just, I couldn't live. Some people, I don't know what it was about me, but I just couldn't live on that money. I was always trying to do something outside of my work to try and get some more cash. And it was just a battle, an absolute battle. So when I came out of the military, the thing in front of me was the dollar sign, you know, the pound sign, and the cash was driving me. So, you know, and that took me over to more war zones here, there, and everywhere, places that didn't do me any good whatsoever when it came to my mental health. But it was actually, you know, that thing again in Thailand, when in Southeast Asia, when I actually found my true purpose, I believe. And for the first time ever, because I wasn't being paid for it, I was using my money from Iraq to pay for that, you know, as a contractor. I paid for the operation. So for the first time ever, the money I stopped chasing the money, and it became the passion for doing something that was so powerful to me. And that changed everything, because all up until that point, I was money's bitch. And when you're chasing the dollars, and that's all your drive is, that is very, very lonely and linear path.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
You know what I mean? Obviously, we all want paying for, you know, or remunerating for what we're doing. But that cannot be. It's the same with anything, you know. It's the same with alcohol. It's the same with pornography. It's the same with all those they can't be in the driving seat. If they're in the driving seat, you've got no control. You're not in a great place. So
yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the future and what your goals are for the coming year, obviously, I guess more and more people are going to be facing a challenging year. I think that's fair to say. Do you see your role? Are you going to be kind of morphing again? Do you think, or or have you kind of decided on a path now, and that's what you're going to stick to?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly the latter of what you've just stated there. So really, for me, it's like we are here now, and it's about us pushing out. Still advancing forward, but pushing out more. And that's why we're starting to build an online platform where we can start to bring people in. And for me, it's like the more people we can get to understand their true potential, their true power, that is my mission over the next year to really build that. I was fighting with, I've just had to make the decision this morning because I've just got back from climbing Amadablam in the Himalayas with NIMS from 14 Peaks. And
there's another guy I'm interviewing who works with him. He's helping Kathy Brown, who's the boxer.
Right.
He's got a very obvious name for somebody from Nepal.
Not Migma, is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
There's a few of them. I don't know which one it is.
He's got long...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress. But
yeah. So basically, I came back from there, and I've got the bug. I wanted to just carry on doing it, and then I was like, right, Everest in April. So that was my. I just had to make that decision this morning. No, because I really need to focus and put everything I've got time-wise into my business. I'm back out in Australia filming in February, so filming SAS Australia. And then go away and do Everest, which is at least a 4-week commitment, and that's a fast track. I've just had to make that decision. No, I really need to invest and spend that time on my business and really get the wheels in motion.
I guess
there's going to be a lot. One thing I'll say about there's a lot of fear about the future, and these times come and go. At the end of the day, I believe each and every person creates their own economy. I mean? You have to adapt, of course, but there's always opportunity in crisis. And if we allow that, we call it in the military, you're 1 meter square. When all around you is falling apart, bring everything back to 1 meter square, and in that space, just keep making momentum forward. All the things you can't control, don't concentrate on because you can't do anything about it. But really, you are responsible for your own economy. It's all relative, but we really have to stop allowing the outside world to be dictating our future.
Yeah, I think there's that saying, control the controllables, isn't there? Which I said that somebody very.
I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's true. So, have you got any more? Are you looking to be publishing any more, or?
Yeah, I've got another book coming out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything about it though.
Okay, we'll keep that on. I'll tell you what, we can say it and then we can edit it out if one way or the other.
No, I've got a survival handbook.
Okay.
Now. So it's more like it's more relative to the situation we're finding ourselves in at the moment. If the system comes crashing down, if the financial systems fall apart, if the apocalypse.
Okay, that's what I was
for the apocalypse. Yeah, so I've got that one coming out, and then I'll be doing some more. I'm actually going to go down the self-publishing route, I think, for my self-development books, because a lot of it, it's great being with a publisher, but at the end of the day, they want to control the narrative far too much. So, I want to, do a lot. I want to start going down the self-publishing route.
And in terms of the TV, is that something? Obviously, you've referenced the Australia one coming up. You can see continuing for the foreseeable future, or is it something you want to move away from?
Listen, I treat everyone like it's the last one.
Yeah,
I said that back in 2015 when the first one came out.
Yeah,
it's still going strong now. I mean, listen, that's another thing that which I dislike, is the fact that I'm not in control. You know, and that's the
Yeah.
beauty of doing something for myself. I'm absolutely in control of my destiny with that.
Yeah.
So, you know, production being production, they could say next season, well, we're going to have someone else. You know, it happened to me before. So, but the thing for me is, you know, I love that show. I love working on it, but it is a sideshow for me. You know, it brings exposure to my business, which really for me is the sole purpose, you know, is the driving force. But you know, I'm not chasing any other TV stuff. I don't believe, you know, when I set in that house 2014, when I had absolutely nothing, I set out that mission statement to create a globally identified brand recognized for the positive growth and development of others. And that really is everything to me. So that has to be the driving force with everything. Now, if everything falls apart when it comes to TV, I'm quite happy with where it's got me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see, I mean, obviously it's giving you a platform to to spread your mission. And fantastic. I think all of us would love to be in a position whereby, you know, we can amplify what we're doing internationally, I guess, with social media. But in terms of you know, your other personal development, is that something that's ongoing for you? Do you work with counselors yourself? Do you have any treatment yourself? Is that something that helps as well?
Yeah, listen, I'm at school every day. I am 100% at school every day. I'm a continuous improvement model. You know what I mean? And I still feel I've got so much to learn. You know, I have mentors or a mentor, people I work with, you know, and I'm inspired by them all, you know, but I just think, you know, I think you get into a dangerous place when you think that you're some kind of guru and I've learned everything I need to learn. You know, I've done a lot of stuff in life, and I just feel I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah. So any big challenges? I mean, you've mentioned obviously Everest. Is there any other thing in your sights that you would like to, you know, physical or mental challenges that you're hoping to conquer in the near future?
Well, really, for me, you know, doing what I set out to do with the business, that is a massive task for me. You know, I'm not great sitting in offices. You know, so when it comes to, you know, that requires a lot of stuff where we're going to sit down, we've got to sit in front of a screen and do a lot of work. So that for me is a massive, I would much prefer to climb Everest than do that.
Yeah.
So Everest is 2024, but next year I've got to concentrate and give all my focus and attention to Breakpoint, and that for me is the biggest mountain. That's a lot higher than Everest.
Yeah, that's interesting. That a lot of the time people kind of perhaps downplay, you know, the mental challenges versus the physical.
Yeah,
actually, mental challenges and obstacles is sometimes even greater than the physical ones.
Yeah.
That's interesting to hear that. So a couple of fun questions for you then. I really appreciate your time. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
It would be to be able to read people's minds.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know if that'd probably be a double-edged sword though, wouldn't
it? Yeah, possibly, depending on what they're thinking. And in terms of your favorite meal, if it was, you know, your last meal before going on to, let's say, SAS Who Dares Wins again, you know, no more grubs, you know, nice meal. What's it going to be before you?
It's got to be one of my wife's chicken roasts. Yeah. I'm a roast man. I love it. Absolutely.
I think you've probably done this anyway, but if you could train anywhere, anytime, with anybody past or present, who would that be?
Definitely Bruce Lee.
Definitely. Really interesting.
Yeah,
it comes up.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not really for the martial arts side of things. It's for his mindset. He was like way ahead of his game when it came to that. You know what I mean? He was just incredible. So, you know, in some kind of temple, somewhere on the top of a mountain, you know, just to have that time with Bruce Lee. And I wouldn't, even if you didn't do any exercise, you know, just that mental training with him would just be incredible.
And I guess the other thing would be just to find out, you know, what would be, you know, hopefully, you know, we're going to edit this as well and obviously put it in the magazine. But what would be, you know, your 3 takeaways? You know, so this has been published in the new year. Obviously, a lot of people see that as an opportunity to kind of kickstart the year ahead, rightly or wrongly. I think that's something we should probably be doing all the time rather than waiting for a particular day or month or whatever. But nonetheless, what would be your 3 well, it doesn't have to be three, it could be more things that you would, say to people that are reading this or listening, to help them achieve their goals in the year ahead?
Well, I think you've got to focus on three things. And this is why I did in this house. I did this in the house when I came back 2014. And I think with that, when you take any one of these away, it affects any one of the other. Look at it as like a pyramid, and each point of the pyramid, mind, body, and nutrition. You know what I mean? I totally believe if you take any one of them away, it affects the other two. And really, for me, it's about that. When it comes to the mind, you have to set goals.
Yeah.
Our subconscious, people think there's like, some people have goals, some people don't. Every person on this planet is driven by goals, and our subconscious mind is driven towards our dominant thoughts. So, when you've got to imagine that a lot of our mindset is, if we don't have any control, it's predominantly negative. So that's just the way that we're wired. So really having clearly defined goals that we're following. And listen, it's not just about getting the goal, it's about who you become in the process. So that is so important. And as far as your soul is concerned, as far as your psychology is concerned, it's simply about the fact that we understand that we're making progress towards something, regardless of what it is. That's so important. And that, honestly, when it comes to mental health, a lot of people wonder why they're struggling with mental health. You ask them, have you got any goals? And they say, no, not really, not at all. These are the reasons why. Let's go then on to body. So, exercise. If you're not exercising, you need to bloody start. 100%. Not only does it release endorphins, it makes you live a longer and happier life. Do you need any more selling point than that?
Yeah.
And
the other day, what's fun about DNA testing? And I said, it's life. Life is fun, and if you know what you're doing, you can get more, and that's it.
Dead simple, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
You know what? And then I'll take this on to the next point anyway. So mind, body, and then nutrition. People have got to understand that the gut has a direct correlation to the mind. And a lot of people put more expensive fuel in their, well, I wouldn't say expensive about fuel for cars, but people put better quality fuel in their car than they do themselves. You know what I mean? And like, they've got to understand that, the nutrition, the things that we supply our body with, when it comes to like supplements as well, choosing some crap brand that's been white label from China, and without even looking at the ingredients or studying the fact that it's a quality product, you're doing yourself more harm than good. To really understand what the quality of the things that you're consuming, is so important. I mean, I'm a big advocate of drinking the quality of water. We're made up pretty much, molecular structure is 99% water. I mean, you've got to focus on, at least, let's take it right back to basics. The quality of the water you're put. I don't drink tap water. I don't drink bottled water. I actually I distill all my own water and put my own minerals in. So, I'm a big believer in that. And just the quality of food. I mean, I have cheat days. I enjoy myself. I will at Christmas. I'll eat whatever. But 80% of the time, I'm really conscious about what goes in. What I consume. So really, mind, body, and nutrition. And I like I say, it's almost like a pyramid that you take one side away, then the thing's going to fall down. I think you've got to focus on all three. And the last thing I'd like to say is stop pleasing the audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about the audience. It's about you. You're on this life as not as a guest at your own party. You're the host. So really focus on you and stop doing stuff to please the audience.
That's great. I think that's brilliant. Like, little soundbite there, those three things. I think everybody's going to kind of connect with that, and it's very easy to understand and take away. So, look, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for yours. I really enjoyed it.
And hopefully, we can stay in touch. Just a quick question. Do you know a guy called Daniel Zola, out of interest, in your travels?
No.
Okay, just thought you might have crossed paths. He's a good friend of mine, but anyway, not to worry. Well, look, thanks a lot. Have a wonderful Monday. Make it happen. And obviously, if you've got any more news you want to share at a future date, get in touch and be delighted to include it.
Thank you so much, and thanks for your time. And as soon as you've got the piece together, you'll probably just inform James, will you?
Yeah, we'll send it through to you to just give it a one.
Yeah, and if you need pictures and stuff, we can supply all pictures and everything. So
if you've got anything, links to the new website, or if the book is out at the right time and you want to do anything about that, just let me know as well.
Much appreciated. Right. Have a great week.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye. Hey, do you want the recording?
Yes, I do. Actually, that's a good point. Very bad magazine article with no content in it.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'll get that to James. I'll get that sorted and send it to James.
All right. Lovely. Cheers, Ollie.
Yeah. Bye.